Hi there, Joe Romani here, Professor of Consulting at Cardiff University and, boom, consultant to the consulting industry. I am reading The Founder Bottleneck by Greg Alexander, which I think is the only copy in the UK because you can only get it by being a member of his Collective 54, which I recommend you check out. But also, I've been having a few conversations with the larger consultancies around the importance of delegating, not creating a founder bottleneck, but also delegating throughout the firm. So this is important for several reasons. Number one, as a buyer or investor of your firm, if there are 3 or 4 key people in the firm who, if they get hit by a bus or leave the firm's scuppered, I'm not going to be investing, I'm not going to be interested. Too much of a risk for me. I'll go for a firm where the founders have managed to delegate, there's intellectual property, there's systems and processes, the asset is in the firm, not in the individuals. So that's number one. Number two, you're going to be getting loads. Once you get to about 30 to 50 people, you're going to be getting lots of juniors coming in to help grow the company, and that's the way to do it. You need to be recruiting from the inside so the juniors get promoted up. But if they can't see a clear opportunity, a clear route to getting up through the organisation, they're going to leave. And they're not going to see that route if you haven't delegated, if you're not stretching them, if you're not giving them interesting work. So you're going to be getting unmotivated people. Thirdly, it's going to be a huge waste of your time. It's an inefficient organisation where juniors are going to be coming to you saying, where do I go for this? How should I do this? Can you check this work? What information do we have on whatever? So this is my huge point about, even with more brains focused or experience focused consultancies, you need to have systems, processes, assets in place to build the value of the firm rather than the value of the founders or the leaders or whatever. So how do we go about doing this? I'm only going to spend a couple of minutes on this. I really wanted to emphasize its importance. But number one, once you get to 30 to 50 people, you need to have an HR person in place, in my view. You need to have, and I mean a trained HR person, you need to have a competence map, you need to have proper appraisals that are linked to training, linked to objectives, linked to the competencies that you need to get up through the organisation. So that's the key thing. Number two, it's a mindset thing. You need to be able to delegate. Founders very often get this. They sometimes don't, but very often get this, and they're quite good at identifying things that they can get out of. Basically, unless it's driving revenue, you probably shouldn't be involved. But even if it is driving revenue, ideally you want to be developing the competence in other people in the leadership team so that they're doing the business development, they're doing the relationships and all the rest of it. So see what meetings you can get out of is the first step in that. But also that needs to go throughout the organisation. Traditionally middle management, I guess, for very good reasons, have seen their expertise as sort of, their own asset, and they jealously guard it. But also they don't want to do bad work. If you delegate something to a junior, very often they're going to do bad work. So there's two things here. One, you need to change that mindset, and that's done through communication, but also through the stick and the carrot, reward and punishment. Looking at how you incentivize, what you measure, and all the rest of it. But also, you need to be happy with work not being as it was when you were a 10-person firm. When you're a 10-person firm, you burn the midnight oil, you do everything to make sure that your clients are completely satisfied and all the rest of it. You simply can't achieve that level of personalised service when you are a 50 or even 100-person firm. I know I'm going to get a lot of founders saying, oh, no, we're still, we still have better quality than we did. But you probably have better quality because you have better intellectual property. So part of the thing about getting stuff out of middle management heads is having the intellectual property, having systems, having processes, having onboarding, have training, have videos, have demonstrations, which will allow juniors to produce high quality work eventually without coming to the managers all the time. Now, mentoring is important, and that's a big part of it, but you can't, as part of a junior person's progression, they need to experiment and fail. They need to attempt and try and then be reviewed. But there needs to be a point where that middle manager, the senior consultant or the principal consultant, whatever they are, needs to be able to say, okay, you are now competent enough to do this. The junior person, in turn, needs to see that when they are competent enough to do this, that's another tick in the box towards their promotion. So being that sort of self-starting, self-improving junior is something that, of course, you're going to be recruiting for once you've got your HR person, but also it's something you're going to be rewarding for. So your competence map should, really be all about delegating, in effect. So those skills, expertise, and all the rest of it that the middle management have, they need to be developing it in the juniors. And so really moving away from the model where the middle management are responsible for the quality assurance of the firm. I'd much rather see a firm that did peer reviews, that asked people to check their own work, and that had internal customers, so that when you pass a piece or a presentation or analysis or a report or whatever to the next individual person who's going to present it, they check the work. So that what you're doing here, you're taking responsibility away from the middle management and you're freeing up their time for the skills that are being passed down to them. Business development, relationship management, higher level skills around selling and managing. And obviously that needs to be supported. It's not just about the juniors getting the training and all the rest of it. Go back to Meister's model, minders, finders and grinders. The grinders are the people that do the work. The minders are the people that make sure the work is being done well. And then the finders are the people who go out and find the work. And as you go up through the organisation, your skill set is going to have to change. One consequence of this is that some of the people that have been around for a long time and some of the people who are very, very good at their jobs aren't necessarily the best people to go to the next stage. So some people, and you'll perhaps have some of these in your organisation, simply refuse to delegate, simply refuse to not obsessively check the dotted I and the crossed T, and perhaps don't have the skills to get to the next level. And this is very often quite a challenge in boutiques, because they're small enough that you still know everyone and you have personal loyalties and friendships with people. And you're highly dependent on these people. But perhaps you're looking at high flyers or high potential people further down the organisation who do have the natural inclination towards business development, relationship management, account management, that type of stuff. So there's some tough conversations that need to happen there. But the way to do that is to have a formal HR system, for everyone in the organisation to be very, very clear, not just about their utilisation targets and all the rest of it, their performance targets, etc., but also what skills, competencies, knowledge, expertise they need to develop to get to the next level. And the more that can be formalised in the HR system, the less responsibility, or the more responsibility it takes away from the founder or the leadership team to have those awkward conversations, because it's there in the system rather than being based on the relationship. Anyway, I realise I've rambled here, so apologies about that, but I just wanted to get it out of my head before I crack on with the work I'm meant to be doing. Okay, hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.